Welcome back for another video. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 teams that are going to make the playoffs after missing in 2022. On average, there are usually about 5 different teams from the AFC, NFC combined that end up making the playoffs that didn't the year before. This year, we're going to guess who those teams are going to be. To start off, we're going to start with the Jets. This feels like a pretty easy pick, right? They get Aaron Rodgers on a team that was 7-10 last year. They finished fourth in their division last year, but adding Aaron Rodgers and adding the other guys that they were able to bring in with Aaron Rodgers to what they already had. They had the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year on that team last year. They should be much better this year with Aaron Rodgers, with that kind of veteran leadership and with that kind of quarterback play coming in. So the Jets, again, obvious answer to be making the playoffs that they're missing last year. Next is going to be the Saints. This one's kind of easy for me because I think they're going to win their division. I think it's really going to be between them and the Panthers. They finished 7-10 last year, third in the NFC South. I think there's a good chance they end up with a losing record this year, but I do think they were going to be able to win their division with who they have. The Bucks probably going to be bad this year. The Falcons are kind of a wild card right now. Admittedly, the Panthers are a bit of a wild card themselves. So right now, the easy answer is the Saints to win that division. So I think that's how they make it to the playoffs this year. Next is going to be the Broncos. I think having Sean Payton is going to make a huge difference. There's one thing I've noticed over the last decade or so of my life is that coaching in sports, like it really does matter, especially in football. I think in basketball, you can kind of get away with if you have enough talent throughout the roster, you can have whatever coach and the players will figure it out. In football, I think it's massive to have a great coach. And the Broncos were 5-12 last year with all the talent on that roster. They were 5-12 with Nathaniel Hackett. I think having Sean Payton come in with a guy like Russell Wilson, it's going to be there are obvious there are going to be a lot of comparisons to what Sean Payton was doing with Drew Brees for obvious reasons. Russ's size is a big part of that. And I just think that you're going to see a resurgence of Russell Wilson with Sean Payton. And I think the defense already elite, right? Like they already have a top 10, top 5 defense. This year with Sean Payton leading the offense and leading Russ, I think that'll make the offense better. Of course, injuries could happen. Last year, they were snake bitten by injuries, especially at the wide receiver position. If they are able to stay relatively healthy, I think they're going to be much better. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson helped this team get to the playoffs in 2023. Last couple teams we're going to talk about are going to be on the NFC side of things. First one is going to be the Detroit Lions. Look, the Lions might mess around and go to the Super Bowl. I honestly would not be surprised if that was the outcome. All right. So with that said, yes, I do think they're going to make the playoffs. They were 9-8 last year, which was second in their division behind the Vikings. And this year, you think about it, like I think the Bears are going to be better, but they're not competition. The Packers are going to probably be worse. They're not competition. So I think they're going to be able to compete for and maybe even win their division this year, which, you win the division, you get to the playoffs. Even if they don't get to the playoffs, I think their record is going to be good enough to get them into the playoffs. So again, they were 9-8 last year. The team this year is much better than it was last year, especially the defense. Everything they were able to do to the secondary, the pass rush is good. They were able to fill some spots in the linebackers. So like they upgraded the defense a lot. The offense should be really good again. So I would expect the Lions to easily make the playoffs in 2023, especially being in the NFC. Pretty sure thing to make the playoffs, I feel like. And because the NFC is so wide open, I think the Rams are able to make the playoffs as long as their stars stay healthy. That's really the big thing for them. They're going to need Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald to stay healthy if they have any chance. With all the injuries that they had last season, they were 5-12 and finished third in the NFC West. So as long as they can get some of these guys to just stay on the field, as much as all the draft picks that they had, the people they brought in through free agency, they weren't real active through a free agency, but they brought in a couple of pieces and then obviously had a bunch of draft picks finally. So I think the Rams have a chance to make it back to the playoffs. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but if you're asking me, 5 teams that can make it to the playoffs this year that did not make it last year, I think the Rams have to be up there with the Jets, the Saints, the Broncos, and the Lions. Okay, and I would love to know who you think is going to make the playoffs this year that didn't last year. Is there anybody that I didn't say? If so, let me know down in the comments and let's talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep coming back for more off-season content. We'll see you for the next video.